Hi, and welcome to Contractor TV. This is Kevin Leipzig. I'm the owner and founder of the Contractors Resource Center in Sacramento, California, and we specialize in serving newly licensed contractors and contractors with 2 to 50 employees, providing financial, legal, and insurance services for California contractors. Today we have David Thiemann. David is the owner and founder of the Placer Contractors School in California. How are you, David?
I'm good, Kevin. How you doing, bud?
Good, good. Thank you. Appreciate you carving out time today. Today's topic, we want to talk a little bit about, um, finding a quality licensing school. There's so many contractor licensing schools in California. If you Google contractor licensing school, you get, I'm sure you know, multiple pages, multiple different options. So I wanted to make sure, we have a segment here on Contractor TV on helping people find a quality licensing school and getting some tips and suggestions on what to look for. So again, appreciate you making the time. Why don't you tell us just a little bit briefly about your background and what made you want to start your own licensing school?
So my background essentially was construction from a pretty young age. Once I got out of the military, I went right into doing construction throughout the '90s. I got licensed myself in the late '90s, and I carried a license for just over 20 years.
Wow.
And then essentially I got into working for the larger schools. I worked for two of the larger schools in California. So I got a feel
The
for how things work.
larger, I'm sorry,
The
larger
larger
licensing
contractor
schools?
schools, yeah, the
Oh,
licensing
okay.
schools,
Okay.
exactly. And I really enjoyed the work. It was different. It was, I enjoyed helping people, and
Yeah.
I seen the value in it. And so again, I was like, you know what? I kind of looked around after about 4 years of doing it for someone else, and I said, I can do this.
Good
And
for
so
you. Yeah.
essentially having my background in construction and then knowing this industry, I felt like it was a good fit for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect background. Um, well, if you would share with us, some of the tips, what should people that are thinking about getting their contractor's license in California, short of just jumping on Google and randomly calling people, and, going based on price alone, talk to us a little bit about what should students, potential students ask when they're calling a licensing school? Again, other than price, what would you say are those 2 to 3 most important things that people should be asking when they're looking at a school?
I think the main thing that they should ask, first off, the one thing, and this is going to sound a little crazy, but ask the person on the other side of the phone if they're commission based. No, because believe me, that does make a
Uh,
difference.
and
Okay.
assuming they might tell you if they are, but that's interesting. So a lot of these guys
Nevertheless,
they earn a commission selling you a program. Good point.
absolutely, and I know this because I
You've
lived
been
this
there.
for 4 years. So
Yeah.
that is key. Essentially, you want to know, where do they get their information? Okay, is it their published information? Do they have a legal department, or does their publisher, was it essentially a lawyer that gave their law and business portion of the test? Because law and business is important. It's very important that you have good information. And it's very important on the trade aspect of all the information. The publisher that I do business with has been in business for roughly about 35 years. Okay. So they've
Yeah.
been in this industry a good long time. They use key people that have construction backgrounds for, general Bs. They use people that specifically electricians, electrical engineers that have wrote their material. So they're familiar. And of course, they have their own legal department that have done all their legal aspects for business and law and business. Okay. Those are important things, material. I think the other thing is how much help are you going to receive from them? It's important because the paperwork, there's 18 pages of paperwork that you're dealing with. So, that's a lot of paperwork, and it can get
Paperwork
kind of
in terms
confusing.
of like is like an application you're talking about?
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
once you're getting ready to file with the Contractor State Licensing Board, you get overwhelmed with all this paperwork. And it's important to have somebody a company or a business that's going to, basically hold your hand and make sure that it's filled out correctly. Because I can tell you right now, if the paperwork isn't filled out correctly, you can turn it in and you can have a 3 to 5 week delay in going in and taking your test. So that is key as well. You also want to ask what their passing rate is,
Oh, that sounds like a great tip. Yeah. And hopefully they'll share that with you, or I mean, is that a fairly
well,
common thing that people would
it,
share?
absolutely, it is. And whether they pat it or not, essentially you want to know, because that's going to give you a little feel for, what's going on and how good their material is. And you also want to know what the time frame is and that they're going to help you. Now, the larger schools will give you 90 days. Once that 90 days is up, they're gonna charge you, okay, to proceed. Now you got to realize life gets in the way sometimes. Not everybody gets their license within 90 days. I'm not saying it's possible. It's feasible to get your license within 12 weeks. However, if you have to, for some reason, stop, okay, and you're not able to go through and get your test taken, and the 90 days goes by, and then you're going to get charged again. That's
So
key.
a question, David. So is 90 days dictated from the license board, or is that more of a
No,
school
no, that's
window of
kind of
time?
that's kind of I would say it's kind of a thing that the schools all do that I've noticed. Essentially, especially the larger schools, they do that. They give you like a time frame in which and sometimes they don't necessarily let you know. And if they do, it's important that you keep that in mind,
Okay.
because the bottom line is I give you a year, and I always tell my students it's not going to take you a year, but if something should happen, and 6 months down the road from now you come back to me, I'm still going to help you. I'm still going to help you to get your license.
Nice. The advantage of working with an independent business owner than one of those big, large schools, right?
Yeah, most definitely. You're not a number. You're a person,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's important to me.
And so this is good information. I appreciate you sharing some of these tips. So you jump on Google. I'm just thinking of myself. I want to get licensed. I'm going to search, California Contractor Licensing School. I'm going to see the first page. I'm assuming all those first pages are, companies that are spending the big bucks for their Google searches. Probably
Sure.
those larger companies.
Sure.
Probably most of those you think are commission salespeople that are popping up on the first page of Google for
Es-
these schools.
Essentially, I can tell you 99% of the time, absolutely they are. You know,
Okay.
and so because they're dealing with anywhere from 75 to 150 students a month. So yeah, they've
So
got
they've
it.
got sales guys trying to sell, sales guys or
Sure,
gals, or
sure.
selling these programs. Give us an idea what kind of cost ranges would someone pay for a California contractor licensing school?
So,
Ballpark.
I've seen, everywhere anywhere from 300 to $2,000, and it just depends. And again, this is another thing that I seen in this industry that I was like, I don't believe this is right. You know, with the proper study material, somebody can get everything that they need for less than $400 and have all the help that they need and hit the ground running. So, as long as all the schools fall into this criterion, which there are good schools out there, don't get me wrong. There are other great schools, that you get the value out of. Okay. But essentially there's got to be some personal customer touch. You got to help these people, and not just to get their license, but I help my students after they get their license to get up and running with some advice because I've been there.
Yeah, yeah. Nothing like been there, done that, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So what I'm hearing is a couple things, if asking again, assuming they tell you, are you guys commission based? Um, Looking at the content is important. Where are you getting this information from? What are the sources? And I guess if they're asking that question, what should they be? What should someone want to hear? If I ask you, David, where do you get your content from? Where do you get your publishing material that's going to help me pass the test?
Well, I get my publishing material from television education. and they've been in business, I said, like, 35 years. And their material is not only very good, but it's guaranteed. So,
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
able to pass that on to my students.
Okay.
Should for some reason they not pass, they can get their money back on their material. So I'm very, very confident.
Okay. Okay. Uh, and just trying to understand this more from a consumer standpoint, knowing that content is so important, and I think you shared the name of the company you might be using. Or what percentage of the other licensing schools are using the same content that you might have?
I know of about 3 other schools that use the
Oh,
same publishing material that I use. And that's why I
okay.
said there are other great schools out there
Okay,
because I
good.
actually,
Appreciate you acknowledging that. Yeah. But what I like, David, is, and this is why I refer my clients over to you too. Anytime somebody's contacting me wanting to get licensed, I feel confident sending them over to you because I know you've got, like you've said before, that the content, and more importantly, that hand holding, the ability to talk to you
absolutely.
directly, not just for 90 days, but maybe, up to a year later you have an issue or a question. It's nice that they can contact you directly.
You
um,
know what, Kevin? I got students that text me. I mean, I probably get 25 or 30 texts a day. Okay. My students actually text me.
yeah,
And I think it's
yeah,
phenomenal because they're working, they're out in the field, they're swinging a hammer or they're painting a house and they got a question and they text me, Dave. They give me their name. I tell them all. I prep them. Hey, man, you can
yeah.
just text me anytime you want, but I got to know who I'm talking to. And boom, they text me and they ask a question, and I get right back to them. You know what?
Makes a
That's the way
difference,
it should
right?
be. Absolutely, that's the way it should be. I mean, I
Yep,
love it when I get customer service. That's where I
yeah,
shop.
yeah.
I
I
shop where
know.
I'm taken care of.
Yep, I love giving my clients my personal cell phone as well. um, I think it's important. We're in the service business. When I'm, as the owner of an insurance agency, someone saying, you're actually sharing your personal cell phone. So yeah, call or text me anytime. And what's nice, and you probably realize this, is, although they have the ability to, reach out to you on the weekend, you probably don't get a lot of weekend texts or calls. But I, like you, want clients to know that they can call or text me anytime.
Kevin,
Yeah.
I do get the weekend texts.
Yeah.
I do. And sometimes it's
Yeah.
just a quick question. And you know
Sure.
what? It's not that hard to peel myself away from what I'm doing and
Yep.
shoot them a text,
Exactly.
because hey, you know
Yep.
what? They're feeling good.
Yep.
They're feeling
Yep.
good and they know, and the best feeling of all is usually about 4 or 5 months after they get their license when I get that phone call from them.
Right.
How
Right.
much their life has changed. That's
Right.
what's rewarding to me.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. And I know that the referrals we get from you that we're able to help, it's nice to be able to put them in our California contractor group on Facebook, which
Mhm.
has grown. I think we have almost 4,000 in that community. And
Wow.
that's been a great forum for newly licensed contractors, and, contractors that have been around a while, to share best practices, to share tips, to network together. And it's really, the group has grown, where I see homeowners now coming into some of the folks you refer over to us, that are in that California contractor group on Facebook, and people are posting, I need a new roof. I'm in Irvine, or I'm doing a remodel addition. I'm in Sacramento, California, and it's great to see, our mutual clients and others that aren't clients that are also part of that group, share leads in that group. So that's been great, because again, after they're licensed, there's more to it than just being licensed, right? It's, well, I need help
Absolutely.
with a website, or I need to
Absolutely. Well,
market.
they've got to, once they go to take their test, the most important thing is they got to get bonded. And essentially I tell my students, you need to get bonded. You need to get a minimum $15,000 surety bond prior to you picking up your tool bag, because that's
Right.
your insurance, that's your security, so you can go to work, okay, and you're legal and everything is good to go.
Yep.
And that's why and where you come in.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize it's necessary. It's not terribly expensive, contractor bonds for California. Um, you know this, it's complete. The pricing is completely contingent upon someone's credit, and a $15,000 contractor bond that the state of California requires. You could range anywhere from as low as $90 to a year up to several hundred again, depending on credit. So that's an important part of the licensing process, right? So I guess in summary here, what I'm learning is, the caution of, searching on Google, looking for a contractor school, realizing that, those larger schools are often commission-based, probably going to be more expensive than going to a smaller business, independent school like yourself. The content is important that's being published, and, that post licensing service that you provide and we provide together as a team as well is important. Anything else we missed today? How about how to get a hold of you? I know when we publish this, we'll have your phone number and contact info on there, but why don't you share that with us as well right now?
You can get a hold of me from 866-500-6553, or you can call me direct. I will always answer my phone, 916-825-1242.
Great. And how about a website address?
The website is www.placercontractorsschool.com.
Perfect. Thank you, David. And for myself at the Contractors Resource Center, my number is 800-992-1712, extension 12, or call or text me on my cell phone anytime, 530-320-3617. David, great information. Thanks for carving out the time and giving us some tips on how to find a quality contractors licensing school. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.
All right.
Thank you very much.
See you, David. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.